Hello and welcome to Mad Chemist Science. In today's lesson we're going to take a closer look at chemical and physical change as well as chemical and physical properties. By the end of this video you should be able to identify physical and chemical properties, identify physical and chemical changes, give evidence of a chemical reaction, and finally know the difference between an intensive and extensive property. The major difference between a chemical and physical change is composition. With a physical change, there is an outward change in appearance, but the composition remains the same. Examples of a physical change would be texture, color, temperature, shape, and state. Let's talk about some of the physical properties of matter. Luster. Luster is how a piece of matter interacts with light. Is it shiny? Malleability is how matter behaves when you hammer on it. Will it turn into a new shape or will it bust apart? Ductile means that that piece of matter can be drawn into a thin wire. Or again, will it just crumble? Density, as we all know by now, is the amount of matter packed into a space. And then we have viscosity, which is defined to be the resistance to deformation of a particular substance when a force is applied to it. We've defined a chemical change as a change in composition, but how do we know this has occurred? Well, there are a couple of clues. First is a change in temperature. It can get hotter or it can get colder. There can be a change in color. It can go from clear to bright yellow. It can have an odor. This is a significant change of odor. It will get stinky or sometimes it'll even smell good. Formation of a precipitate. Now, a precipitate is something we'll talk about often in chemistry, and it's basically a solid. Precipitate falls out, just like precipitation falls out of the sky. And then we have bubbles. Formation of a gas. So far, we have covered chemical changes. Let's talk about chemical properties. So what exactly are these chemical properties I keep mentioning? Well, this is the potential to undergo some change based on its composition. Will this piece of matter react and rearrange itself when coming in contact with another piece of matter? Okay, so we're going to bounce back to physical properties. Physical properties can be put into two categories. Intensive, which it remains the same no matter how much of the piece of matter you have, things like color, density, conductivity, luster, or extensive properties. This is a property that will change based on the amount of matter you have. It can be its mass, its volume, or even its size and shape. Well, looks like we find ourselves at the end of another lesson. I need for you to ask yourself, can you identify physical and chemical properties? Can you identify physical and chemical changes? Could you give evidence of a chemical reaction? And do you know the difference between an intensive and extensive property? I hope you can. Until next time, this is the Mad Chemist reminding you, do not trust atoms. They make up everything.